Morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Yevamos, and we are in Parak Beis, chapter 2, Mishna Ches, Mishna 8. That's today's Mishnah. Okay. Mitzvah v'gadol liyabim. It's a mitzvah on the oldest or older brother to do the yibum. Person dies without children. There's a number of brothers that are left. The mitzvah is for the oldest brother to go and to do the yibum. And actually, if the oldest wouldn't do it, then it goes to the next oldest. It goes in age order. V'im kadam hakatan zacha. But if the younger one went ahead and did it before everybody else, zacha. Zacha means he has gained. Now what that means is like this. When a person does yibum, when a person performs yibum on his sister-in-law, he becomes the heir to all of his brother's property. You see, if the brother were to pass away with no children, and let's say there would be no yibum, so then all the brothers would equally divide the deceased brother's estate. They all are his heirs. But once one brother does yibum on the wife of his deceased brother, he becomes the sole heir to the brother's estate. So when the Mishnah says here, if the younger one went, zacha, he has gained, it means like this. Although the mitzvah is for the older one to do yibum, if the younger one goes ahead, doesn't ask anybody, goes ahead, and he does yibum, and he's the one who does yibum, it's valid. It's valid. And therefore, zacha, he has gained the rights to the inheritance over all the property of his deceased brother. Okay, now, new halacha. Hanitan ala shivcha v'nishtachara. So our first example is an example of where somebody was not supposed to marry somebody else. He wasn't supposed to do the yibum. He did it anyway, and it doesn't. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But now we have another case, nothing related to yibum. This next case, nothing to do with yibum. Hanitan ala shivcha v'nishtachara. A person who is suspect of having cohabited with a shivcha, that means a Canaanite maidservant. That's a woman he's not allowed to cohabit with. She's a shivcha. She's a slave woman. You're not allowed to cohabit with her. Hanitan means he's suspect of it. It's not we know, he's suspect of it. He's suspect on cohabiting with a shivcha, with a maidservant, the nishtachara. And after that, she was freed. Her master freed her, which means right now she has the status of a convert, and she can marry anybody. And she can marry not anybody. She can marry a born Jew. Okay. Let's say he was suspect of cohabiting with a non-Jewish woman, v'niskaira, and she converted. All right. So basically, this guy is suspect in these two cases. When they were at the point they were suspect, it was forbidden to him what he was doing. But now that she either became freed or she converted, she's marriageable, and he wants to marry her. Lo yichnos. The halacha is he may not marry her. And the reason why he may not marry her is because of the fact that a person should not do things that will cause rumors that he committed a sin. Meaning, people are going to say he was suspect of cohabiting with her beforehand. Now he's marrying her. That means that he was fooling around with her beforehand. A person should not go ahead and put himself in that situation. So you can't marry her. Vim kanas. But if he did it anyway, he got a hold of witnesses, and he went in and married her anyway. You don't take her away. The reason is because even if it's true that even if it's proven that he actually cohabited with any of these women before she was freed or converted, nonetheless, such an act does not make them, according to Torah law, permanently forbidden. There's nothing in the Torah that says, there's no halach in the Torah that says that a person who cohabited with, who was suspect on a non-Jewish woman, now becomes forbidden to her when she converts. There's no halacha like that. So therefore, we say that at the end of the day, he shouldn't have married her because it doesn't look good. But at the end of the day, we say if he married her, she's married because there's nothing that forbids her. Vim kanas. Okay, now that's the first halacha. Vim kanas emetzim yadai. If he did take her, we don't take her away from him because there's no reason to. There's nothing forbidden. Now, hanitan al eshes ish. A person who is suspect of cohabiting with a married woman. Okay? And because of this suspicion, the Bezdin took her away from her husband. That means the circumstances that were brought forth to the Bezdin were enough that Bezdin would say to this man, you should not remain married to her, or you may not remain married to her. It doesn't mean necessarily, if it would be 100% established that she committed adultery, there's no question. But it seems that from the word nitan, which means he's suspect, is that we don't know for sure. But nonetheless, it's a circumstance where the Bezdin tells the guy that he needs to divorce her. It's just too much of a suspicion, because at the end of the day, if a woman does commit adultery, she's forbidden to her husband. In this case, we don't know for sure, but there's enough background that tells that the suspicion is big enough that the Bezdin says to the husband, you gotta get rid of her. So in that kind of case, a person who is suspect for cohabiting with a married woman, and because of that, they took her away from her husband. Now, in that case, he for sure should not marry her. And let's say he went and he did, Yaitzi, he's got to divorce her. In this case, he's got to divorce her. Why? Because at the end of the day, if let's say he did cohabit with her, let's say it was proven that he committed adultery with her, not only is she forbidden to the husband, she's forbidden to him. That's the Gemara says that. Gemara derives from a pasuk that the adulterer is also forbidden to her. The adulterer can't be that after the adulterer is she's forbidden to him just like she's forbidden to her husband, she's forbidden to the adulterer. The adulterer made her forbidden to her husband and for him. And therefore, being that if she for sure would have committed adultery and he would marry her, he'd have to divorce her because he's not allowed to be married to her. If at the end of the day, because of the suspicion, they force her to leave her husband, which means we're treating her like she committed adultery, so then he also is treated that way. If he does marry her, he's going to have to divorce her. Okay. Okay. So now, let's start. Then we're going to start a new chapter in the laws of lashon hara. The same way one may not shame or speak disparagingly about a person regarding matters between man and God. That means you're saying that he doesn't keep mitzvahs properly. He's not keeping the mitzvahs that a person has to keep between man and God. It's also forbidden to shame him, to deride him, because of matters between man and his fellow Jew. He's a ganef. He speaks lashon hara. He insults people. Even if what you're saying is 100% true, still is forbidden. And he says, basically, Chofetz Chaim says, I'm going to give myself license to elaborate on this. There's a lot of details, a lot of changing situations, and therefore I'm going to go to each one. I'm going to elaborate. Okay. But now I'm going to say something that there is no doubt about. The Chofetz Chaim very often goes through scenarios that are obvious to lashon hara, but he points them out anyway because he saw that people were lax about it. You see someone ask someone for a loan, or he asks for some kind of a favor. He didn't do it. So you saw Reuven asked Shimon for a favor, Shimon refused, you saw it. Or actual prohibitions that can be committed between man and his friend, such as taking revenge. Revenge. You saw that Shimon said to Reuven, I'm not doing this for you because you didn't do this for me. That's revenge. Number one, at the end of the day, I didn't do you a favor, but I didn't harm you. I did not directly harm you. I didn't steal. I didn't damage. And number two, there's really no benefit of that. There's no benefit that can come out of telling somebody, oh, he acted revengefully against the person. If you go and tell other people about it, it is unquestionably lashon hara. Okay? All this is even if you saw it yourself. And you know that he could have helped him, but he just doesn't do it because he's not a nice person. And at the end of the day, you may know 100% he could have helped him and he didn't. You still can't speak lashon hara about him. If let's say the refusal to do their favor was to somebody else, meaning it's not to you. You're not telling other people that he didn't do me a favor. You're telling him he didn't do somebody else a favor. So why are you telling it over for? The answer is called kinos ha'emes. You're standing up for the truth. It was a wrong thing to do, and you're speaking out against something wrong. Even then, it's going to be forbidden to say it. And all the more so if the problem is he didn't do you a favor, then for sure it's forbidden to go ahead and to degrade him. And if at the end of the day the reason you're doing it is to take revenge from him for not doing you the favor, then guess what? Not only to speak lashon hara, you transgress the prohibition of taking revenge. If you went ahead and you said it because you're bearing a grudge, then only you speak lashon hara, but you're over on that you transgress the prohibition of bearing a grudge. So the Chofetz Chaim is not telling us anything revolutionary here. It's all very basic, but he's trying to speak out something that very practically can happen. You see someone do something that you see someone who didn't do something good for someone else, didn't do the person a favor. Even though you may know that was 100% wrong on that person's part, there is no reason for you to go ahead and tell other people about it. It's lashon hara. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Chanukah Sameach. All the best.
If someone has a slave girl